been almost exactly 3 years since your last album.
Uh-huh.
Are you currently working on planning on any new studio material?
Right now our main focus is to go out and celebrate the Allborough Kings days. The days of the saxophone and our first album, No Fronts, Who's the King, really this older material. For the last probably 7-8 years that we've been doing shows, we've been focusing on material like Walk With Me, our last album, and also Amped. So it's time to take a look back. The album is 15 years old, and the band is almost 20 years old, so it's fun to take a trip back in time.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, the saxophone, as you mentioned, was one of the key elements of your music, and you got it back. So how is it working with the saxophone again?
It's fun. It's nice to see the crowd's reaction. We were able to do a lot of shows without saxophones that were very successful. The one thing about the horn is that it helps separate us from any other crossover or hardcore or a lot of bands except funk bands don't have horns. So it helps to create a unique sound for us.
All right.
You want to join us, Dave?
Would you mind?
Yeah, come on.
Hi.
This is Jan.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Peter.
I'm Peter.
All right.
You're up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are in Europe.
Well, since you said it, you are touring Europe at the moment. What are your impressions? How is it playing in Europe?
Well, we've been touring Europe now since 1993, so we feel that this is our second home anyway. So every year consistently for 15 years we've toured Europe. We've played in Slovenia many times since 1994. So we feel very comfortable being over here, and the audiences are always good to us. So, we really don't even play in America anymore. We only play in Europe. So this is where we're the most comfortable, where the audience is the best, and that's why we come back year after year.
I would just say this year it's fun because, like I mentioned, we're playing old songs. So we're seeing some folks with old DogEatDog shirts, people that know the lyrics, but also young people that might not even been alive or in diapers when Allborough Kings came out 15 years ago that also know the words and they know how to party like the old school fans. So it's been fun.
Well, since your last album, Walk With Me, you have lost Sean Kilkenny and Matt Salem, but you gained Axel on the team. Am I right?
The team has changed even more. We got some news that Axel had an injury, so he's not with us on this tour. We have, Roger Hammerly, who plays in a Swiss band called Henchmen, and has been photographed and played with DogEatDog many times, particularly after Sean Kilkenny left the group. Roger was with us, and he's with us tonight on guitar, and we've also brought a sax player.
The way we're operating right now is when Sean had left the band, we've tried to maintain a guitar player, but we don't necessarily have made a permanent guitar player. We kind of choose who is best for the time that we're going on tour. And on this time, Axel was, of course, our first choice, but with a broken arm, we went to the guy who originally replaced Sean. So we're not looking always for a new guy. We have 2 or 3 guys who can do the job, and we pick the best one for that tour.
Yeah, I mean, the rotation has been between friends and peers, musicians that we already know. We're not doing open casting calls every trip, so it's friends helping us out.
All right. Well, if we go back a bit, how has New York hardcore changed since your beginnings?
Wow, I mean, that's a long question. New York hardcore is like any other genre of music. It goes through cycles. It's popular, less popular, but in general, I mean, we just listened to a Bad Brains playlist on the way here in the van. I mean, it's not New York, but Bad Brains moved to New York, and this is such a tremendous band that's still influential to this day. So I think all music changes throughout time. If it didn't, it would be totally boring. DogEatDog has something to add to New York hardcore, and we've certainly been influenced by it.
I'd just say that, I mean, we grew up right outside of New York City, and I still live there. There really is no hardcore scene in New York anymore. Music has changed quite a bit, but what I notice is that even very young people today, even people that are 16, 17, have the records and they still understand that music and why it's important today, even if that music isn't still around today. It's still vital and important to energy and, let's say, skateboarding or a lifestyle. You still get kids who weren't alive during that time who will listen to it. We still listen to it, regularly when we're driving in our van or on our personal time. So I think New York hardcore will always be important, but it's too bad that now there's really no scene anymore. There's no clubs exist anymore, that even CBGBs doesn't exist. And so it really is now more of a historical thing than an active movement. But those old songs and everything still live on, and I think always will.
And can we expect some of what's your repertoire we can expect tonight?
All Borough Kings. We're playing almost every song from that album. But we've got Expect the Unexpected, you're going to hear Isms, you're going to hear Rocky, Step Right In, some favorites, a couple songs from Walk With Me as well. The set changes on a nightly basis depending on how we're feeling, and we always got a couple surprises around, so if the crowd deserves a surprise, they're going to get something special, but you got to give to get.
And it's all about fun for us, so if the crowd is having fun, and we're having fun, anything can happen. And so far on this trip, there's been some extremely entertaining nights where, we break down that barrier between a band and an audience, and generally let people come up on stage, or we'll go down into the crowd. And John has been, standing there slam dancing with the audience during the song. So anything can happen in a festival type situation. It's a little bit harder to do that because it's a little more of a barrier, but we still bring that same energy to the show, no matter whether we're in a club or on a festival.